So let's start with my function menu. Now the upper row I will refer to U, and the bottom row I will refer to B. So let's go to U1. This is pretty simple. Prioritize record media. With the A7RIII, there's 2 memory card slots, so I'm constantly switching between the two, whether I'm going from one shoot to the next, or I want to use one memory card for personal stuff, family events, and then another memory card is for professional work. Now the top row, you'll notice a lot of the settings refer to photography stuff, and the bottom row correlate more to videographies. Now U2 is going to be for time lapses or hyperlapses. Now the only downside of this is that you cannot adjust the settings straight from the function menu. You have to go into the menu, or if you've already been experimenting with time lapses for a while, for example, I have my settings kind of preset at 500 shots for a 24-minute span with a 3-second interval. That's my go-to preference because normally I'm doing a sunset or a sunrise, which 24 minutes is usually a good time range for me to cover time lapses. So U2 is interval shooting. Now to continue the theme of time lapses, U3 is going to be my ISO auto minimum shutter speed. Now this setting is very unique. If you don't know much about it, just look it up on YouTube. There's an in-depth tutorial about this. U4 is going to be my file format. Now to go along with time lapses, sometimes I don't need to do RAW and I just switch to JPEG if I'm doing a quick 20-minute time lapse. I know I'm not going to be doing some heavy editing. I switch it to JPEG, save a lot of space, and get a solid time lapse out of it. In U5, to go in line with U4, if I'm doing a time lapse where I know I don't need to do heavy editing, I can change the image size from 42 megapixels, which is a lot of megapixels. I can switch from 42 to 18. That's the great thing about the A7RIII. Even though it's a 42 megapixel sensor, sometimes you don't need all 42 megapixels. So the last setting on the upper row is going to be my pixel shift multi-shoot. If you don't know much about pixel shifting, this is a really interesting setting, very unique by Sony, and if it's utilized properly, you can get a ton out of it. This setting really sets apart the photography portion in the A7RIII versus many other cameras. If you don't know what it is, basically your camera shifts the sensor a tiny bit across 3 images and then composites them together. So what happens is you get an increase in color detail. Let's go to the bottom settings. The bottom row, we're going to start with picture profile on the B1. Again, picture profile is something that you will often change in video. Now me personally, I don't change that much because I normally stick with the same picture profile. My picture profile 1, which is my custom picture profile, it's H-log2. I'm not going to go into my settings and all that kind of stuff, but just know picture profile is going to be B1. Then B2 is my zebra levels. Now, if you're a videographer, your zebra levels are important because it lets you monitor in real time your exposure metering. Between H-log and S-log, those have 2 different zebra levels. So having my zebra level at a shortcut is really beneficial as a video shooter. B3 is going to be audio record level. This setting only shows white. It's often grayed out. It only shows white if you're in movie mode. So in movie mode, you control your audio record levels, which is something that you obviously need to do if you're recording in-body audio. B4 is going to be subject detection. This is neat because it allows you to switch between human subject detection and animal subject detection. Oftentimes I'm going to be shooting video or photo that has an animal or dog or something like that in it. So if you want to specifically focus on the dog, you can switch this quickly and get some good video or photo that has the dog highlighted. B5 is my zebra display. Again, this is the toggle to turn it on or off. Normally I have it turned on, but sometimes I don't need it, and so I'll turn it off. So having this readily available lets me do that. And B6 is autofocus track sensitivity. Now with video, or if you're doing a lot of action photography, sports, that kind of thing, autofocus track sensitivity is something that you can turn up or down. If you turn the sensitivity up, it'll stick to that subject throughout the scene without switching to a subject that's closer or a face that's nearby.